I get it.
Mbijan raganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. What's that? Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Mbale.
Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong labe no.
56 branches mola soto Gambia ja.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 ti nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol dil fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
baraka. Ni ma lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data is fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo? What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
Welcome to the Brunch, our weekly look at current affairs here on Kerr Fatou Live. I am Lamin Cham. This week we focus on the 2023 national budget for the Gambia, which has been estimated to be over $30 billion. Now, over the last couple of days, National Assembly members have been busy discussing the budgets and, of course, trying as much as possible to cut down the budget to, according to their own views, what is sustainable by the country. But the MPs themselves come under fire over the last couple of days after it has emerged that, in fact, a colossal amount of money has been allocated in payments of salaries and other allowances across the boards. One particular item, the monumental rise in the pay of a speaker, rose or sparked controversy all over the Gambia. Now, Gambia participates, as the name indicates, of course, have been participating in many things Gambian, sometimes even uninvited. They have taken matters to court to seek the public court of opinion on many matters they feel are not democratic. Well, they've been watching the budget session closely. That's why I drag in the studio Marr. Nyang is the executive director of Gambia Participates. Marr, welcome to the brunch.
Thank you, Lamin. It's a pleasure to be back
Before
here.
we go to the specifics, let me begin by asking you, Gambia Participates, when you had the budget, 33 billion, I think, something like that, this year, and of course what the finance minister said that this year, most of the monies they are expecting in grants and revenue are expected to rise, hence the estimates to 30 or 30 something billion dollars. What comes to your mind when you had the budget?
I think government priorities keep increasing. Also, if you look at the regional economic outlook of the World Bank report, and within the sub-Saharan Africa as well, you can see that inflation is actually going high, food insecurity is also going high, and then also the the goods and services that people also get into also is becoming more expensive. This is also because of the global economic shock that is going around. So I think every year it is expected that budgets keeps going up depending on how the economic outlook is within that particular region and how it has some effect on that particular country. So, but I mean, the reason why also the budget is also skyrocketing, there are certain inflation that has been done in terms of recurrent expenditure that also, make the budget to go to that level. So, but the other thing as well, you get to see government is also getting into more construction of roads. Before, there are three, budget entities that are normally priority: it's health, education, and agriculture. Now, if you look at the budget, you will find out that National Debt Servicing has the highest budget allocation, about 4.9 billion, and then you have Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education coming second, and then third is Ministry of Roads and Transportation, receiving 1.9 billion.
I heard the minister saying even that is not enough.
Depending on how to call it, what they plan to do, no budget entity or budget ministry will tell you that the budget is enough.
Right, okay. That's before going to specific, perhaps we'll add that we will also talk football, of course, not just the World Cup, but domestically, the Gambia Football Federation, the governing body of football, has come under fire after criticisms rise after they have made their stance known about how members of the federation should not involve in training or activities not sanctioned by the federation itself. We will get the communications director to tell us when has it become a crime for its members to engage in activities that are not necessarily organized by the federation. Now, let's go to the specifics. And one thing that really caught the eye of the public is the last couple of days when it was revealed that in fact, the National Assembly members from Speaker right down are expected or have been proposed to get huge, let me say massive salary or pay rises in terms of salaries and allowances. For the Speaker, for example, will move from a little over 500 to 1.5 million dollars. Some people say that's, 300% increment of the salaries. How do you react to that?
So I like to be very careful with budget data. So out of curiosity yesterday, I was following the session to get to understand.
In fact, they spend the night.
Yes, they spend a couple of hours, the whole day, and night, obviously, spent reviewing this budget, even the previous
They
day
are
as
still
well.
there.
Yes. So, out of curiosity, I just wanted to know why the leap of the speaker's salary, the deputy speaker, and then also members, exactly, including the members of parliament. So I spent the whole night, reviewing, following the discussion. But what actually intrigued me is that there were some errors according to the parliament. There were some numeric errors on the budget of the manpower budget of the National Assembly. So
they said what are these errors?
Yes. So the FPAC, the FPAC is responsible for reviewing the budget and also presenting their findings
and public accounts.
Their findings to the plenary. So when they were reviewing the budget of the National Assembly, and these are parliamentarians, right? For those that do not know what FPAC is.
Yeah, that's the committee, the subcommittee for finance and public accounts committee.
So and then the committee members. Parliamentarians,
themselves,
summon the National Assembly Service, the Office of the Clerk, and then ask them about the inconsistency between what was allocated in 2022 and then 2023. Seeing almost about 146% jump to salaries of National Assembly members, the Speaker and the like. They asked the question for justification. So according to the FPAC, the Office of the Clerk did state that there was an error, and as a result, they requested for the updated document for the office of the for not only the office of the Speaker but all the parliamentary and staff of the National Assembly.
And what is the correct figures now?
So now, when they look at that document, you realize that they have cut $11.2 million on basic salary of all the National Assembly members, including the Speaker salary. So
they've cut it.
They've cut it. The FPAC has cut that.
This is after the initial figures have been released last week.
Exactly. So, which means FPAC have done their work in making sure that they don't pass the budget as they receive it. And then also, the FPAC also reported the allowances for the National Assembly was overstated by 3.4 million, and they cut that as well. And you also see there is a revolving loan scheme. You remember when we took the parliament to court regarding that revolving loan scheme? Now, because they have their financial autonomy by law, they are able to make this allocation that cannot be questioned by anybody else except the parliamentarians.
How much money?
So there was 80 million. Remember there was...
You were 50 million you were fighting the court.
Yes.
Now they've managed to have 80 million.
80 million, and then FPAC got 20 million of those. So right now they have 60 million.
That is still above what you thought was too much.
Yes.
And now you cannot take them to court?
No.
Because they've done the right thing now.
And then also they followed the route that was not followed in the previous parliament, because the previous parliament, what they have done was they inserted that budget line item. It was never in the estimates, so they inserted it. So this time around, it's already in the estimate. So our argument was parliament cannot insert any budget line item. And this time around...
So now, who did it?
The parliament themselves did it in their budget. So what happened? Parliament prepares their own budget. But then the revolving loan scheme was not what the parliament presented before. It was raised in plenary, and they voted and they inserted it. So that was not done. So now they have the FPAC has reduced us to 20 million. Now they have 60 million.
That's money they can borrow themselves and pay.
Yes.
Against their salary or their gratuity.
Yes. And not only parliamentarians, also the staff of the National Assembly as well.
Yes, that's what I understand. The clerk's office down.
Yeah, the clerks, the junior staff.
Everybody else can get access to that loan.
Yes. And then also they had a $1 million, $1 million is deducted from office entertainment that FPAC has also done.
Office entertainment.
How
much was initially budgeted?
I cannot recall. I think it was that 1 million. I cannot recall the exact amount, but I was more or less looking at the figures that we are deducting.
That had now been
so I can actually get to know the actual figures once it is appropriated. It will be in the appropriated act.
But they cut 1 million out of that.
Yes.
And when you said entertainment, you mean what? The
office entertainment.
The lunch they take there or breakfast they take there or what?
No, those will be
office entertainment. Whose office entertainment?
It will be surprising that if you go to the office of the president, you will find more money in millions.
More money for office entertainment.
For office of entertainment.
Who do they entertain?
I don't know. I don't know.
Really?
But yeah, you will find that in the office of the president budget. Yeah, millions allocated for
office entertainment.
Office entertainment. Yeah, So I mean, this could be when they receive dignitaries.
They probably will buy drinks and stuff like
I don't know. I actually don't know where they put them, but I don't know where they spend that money. Yes.
How that is spent.
Yeah. But Parliament got that. They've reduced 1 million from that particular amount. Also, they had this fund to develop parliamentarians' constituency
allowance.
Constituency allowance to develop the offices for parliamentarians in their constituencies.
I mean, now that's possible. They have budget for that.
They have budgeted, but now they've cut it. It was 20 million that was budgeted, and they cut it off. I mean, also, if you ask me whether that, I wouldn't have agreed
with it.
Yeah, with FPAC for reducing the 20 million.
Yeah.
I mean, the justification that they've given is justifiable. That the reason why they cut that 20 million was because of the current economic status.
But you would not generally oppose to the fact that the parliamentarians should have offices in their constituencies?
No, I wouldn't.
But they would not sit there in the first place. If they build a mansion or rather, an expensive office, they hardly go there.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually something that we also advocated to parliamentarians, that you need to have an office at your own constituency. And I can tell you why. Parliamentarians serve as parliamentarians, they serve as messengers, they serve as communicators, they serve as everything. And as a result, if you go to certain constituency, the constituents will always complain that the parliamentarians don't understand or they don't get to have information regarding what is going on, because everyone, whenever they have a complaint, they have to call the parliamentarian, who is sometimes not reachable. So our advocacy was set up a constituency office, have staff, right, personal assistants and researchers in that office, so that anything that is happening within your own constituency, people can go to your office and they report that. And then current issues, current affairs that are also affecting your people, your people can go to the communities, collect that information, and then brief you. But you expect to be going through WhatsApp.
So in other words, whether or not there should be an office where the staff works.
And this is only not for these parliamentarians, because when they leave, right, another parliamentarian that is coming from the constituency, the office is still going to be there. So these
monies was going to maintain those offices.
They're going to establish those offices. And then also
pay whatever services or employees who might be working there.
Yeah, I believe so. And then also,
why wouldn't that not be parliamentarians themselves becoming a huge burden on the population?
I mean, this has been our advocacy. And then also, the good thing about this is also when the budget is being prepared, the office can actually be having the parliamentary office in this constituency can have this conversation with their constituents, hear from their constituents, make a research. Maybe they can do house-to-house research as to the current issues that is affecting their constituents. Collect that data and then supply that data to the parliamentarians, so that the parliamentarians can use that data to make an informed decision in terms of mainstreaming citizens' needs in the budget. So I will not have, I really do not agree with other cuts. I think they were genuine cuts, but
so you didn't agree? You think the whole of that money should remain intact?
Yes, I think it is very important for there to be structural constituency offices for parliamentarians, regardless of their political affiliation. Every one of those parliamentarians will have their office. When they leave, the office stays, and that also bridge the gap between citizens and their elected representative in their constituencies.
What other cuts did you observe?
I mean, also that offices, they had 10 million extra that will be getting furnitures to furnish those offices. So as a result of that cut, they have also removed that 10 million. So it's about 30 million for office, 20 million for the construction of the parliamentary offices, 10 million for the equipment. Yes, so that also has been cut.
So what will this mean now? They can hardly have.
They wouldn't have it this year.
Wow.
This 2023 coming. Okay. But what they have done is they increased vehicle cost by 4 million.
Allowance.
Yes.
Vehicles.
Yeah, and then also
this time they have not get gifts from President Barrow. They have to. They have to buy it.
I think the citizens were not buying that. The so-called philanthropists giving this gift through the office of the president, and then also committee expenses. They also increased that by 5 million.
That is this subcommittee, such as FPAC, the security committee, the health and whatever committee.
Yes.
So they have. I even see vehicles that have said parliamentary committee, whatever.
Yes.
So each committee has been given a budget now.
Yeah, they used to have budgets for their sessions, also getting expert witnesses coming to give them expert advices and then also going to communities. Let's say, for example, if there's
like
the committee,
visiting like the security where
exactly committee on human rights
installations,
exactly,
or health centers for health committee.
Yeah, and then also they do get to, I think that will come under their travel expenses, not under committee, because the committees also get to travel outside to attend meetings. I think that will come under.
That will come
yes.
under that.
So now the basic salary is it was 79 million for all the parliamentarians. So now with the cut, yes,
they were going to get 79 million.
Yes,
but now when they do the cuttings,
it's now 73 million.
That is only a negligible amount that has been taken off.
So
that's not significant.
I think it is because that is also, like I said earlier, it was an error.
But
so
how was it last year?
Last year, I think I will have to look at that data. I can give you.
Maybe not even 70 million.
Yeah, I can give you that data right after this here in the studio.
Okay.
And then also their allowances from 147 million to 144 million. So what
the allowance has been cut, you mean?
Yes, allowances have also been cut. So
from
147 million to 144 million.
So actually the allowance is even more heftier than the salaries.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the article, not only parliament, if you look at the pay scale of the government, the basic salary might look, even ministers might look very small, 50,000, but the allowances accumulates. I mean, the accumulated gets.
So we're going to pay them
147 million.
As allowance.
That was the proposed one, which has been detected as an error, and they've reduced that to 144 million. So 3 million being cut.
That's insignificant.
Yes.
Cuts, I noticed even the 79 to 76, 73, is it?
Yes.
And then 140, only 3 million. That's negligible compared to what they have cut, for example, from their own proposals for.
But I think it is that's those.
You mean that's still reasonable?
I think so.
Why?
If you look at
nobody in the government will get money.
Yes.
I
mean, that also calls for. This is also what we've been talking about. That calls for having a grading system, grading scale, a revised grading scale for all public servants, right? Including also even the parliament is also an independent institution, but this will also start working on that. The Personal Management Office in 2021 did that.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's since 2020. Yes.
A new grade.
Yeah, they have a revised grading scale. So for me, why I was disappointed is why would the president accept that grading scale, ask the PMO and Minister of Finance to go back and then start working on the implementation of the grading scale. All of a sudden, in the 11th hour in June or July, they said 30% increment. And 30% increment to others means $300 or $500. So that really is nothing. And then what the grading scale was going to do was there's going to be a minimum wage for Gambians, at least nothing less than $5,000.
But is there any suggestion that the government is still committed to that?
Yeah, they I mean, and I will come to that why the personal emolument is actually going high, because when the government make this 30% increment, you will see the differences between 2021 from January to June, and then also 2023, the estimates. So altogether, Parliament actually got 60.5 million
from the budget.
Yes, this is apart from all the ones that I mentioned here are the key ones. But altogether, they have got 60.5 million from their own budget.
So out of this 32, what was it? 32 billion. Is it? They only got 60 million.
So
is that what you want to say?
No, they cut 60 million, not billion.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Okay.
It is 30-something billion dollars.
Yes.
So
35 billion is the expenditure for all the government, the government's estimate expenditure.
But for them, they've only got 60 million
from their budget. From
the whole budget.
No, from their own budget.
Their own budget.
Yes, the Parliament's budget is 497 million.
497
million.
They only
GLF.
got 60 million.
They got 60 million.
They haven't
of that.
got enough.
They
haven't got enough.
Okay. I mean, there are also other payments that are statutory, personal emoluments. Those are statutory. It cannot change.
Yeah.
If it does not go up, it cannot go down. And by law, anyone that works have to be paid. So, but I will give you the figures, the differences when they the difference on personal emoluments, other charges, and then also capital development. So if you look at 2022, the personal emolument for National Assembly was that was 229 million. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, 229 million.
Now it is before
now it's now it's 303 million.
That's over 100 million.
Yes, but now you remember the figures that I gave you. They've made some cuts on the basic salary allowances. So which means the personal emoluments of 303 million will go down to 200 million plus.
Wow.
Yes, and
still money.
Yeah,
It's still a lot of money.
And then if you look at the other charges, they have 131 million in 2022. And then also in 2023, they have 146 million. So that increased by the PE for parliamentarians increased by 32%. That's personal emolument. And then the other charges increased by 12%. So the capital expenditure also increased by 210%. But this is the proposed budget. Okay. With the cuts that they have made and all the other ministries, we will get to see.
That's what they were busy on since last night. Yes. I think they still are.
Yes, and they've made significant cuts on other ministries. And National Audit Office, I've also seen that they've made some significant cuts. They also cut the budget of the judiciary. Really? So at the end of the budget discussion, we will get to have.
We will know.
Yes, how much they have cut. So,
but what we have already so far, you seem to have objection to only one. That is the budget office for constituency. You think that's justifiably that should stay
for the parliamentarians' budget. Yes. Okay. I am yet to collect data for the order because I'm still following the sessions, so I'm yet to get the exact cuts for all the other ministries, and with that then you can make some objection. I know when they were debating yesterday, there are certain ministries where they have not cut their budget and actually instead make some additions. So with this cut that they have made, at the end of the day, what they are going to do is they're going to use these cuts that they have made. And I think one thing also that they were trying to do was to cut the deficit. The deficit, I think that's also one of the things that they were saying that they were going to work on. So yeah.
So well, we haven't seen. You mentioned the figures for works. What was it? 1 point.
So the Ministry of Works, I think it's 1.9 billion.
One of the three most expensive ministries, is it?
Yes.
And part of that, according to them, is infrastructure. This government is so obsessed with infrastructural developments that some people say are in quotes. Because, all right, we want the government or the country without grants or loans to fund the Hakalan Road, for example.
Yeah.
The Hakalan Road is not even 30% done. And a lot of money we've been told have been invested. So far, do you have an impression that the monies that have been called for this ministry and the work that has been tangibly done, you think it's justifiable? I had the minister say even that money is too small.
I said,
2 billion is small, he said.
Like I said earlier, no government budget entity will tell you their budget is small. Or it's not sufficient. I think one of the key budget line items within the Ministry of Works budget is that of road and bridge construction.
Yeah.
So yes, the Hakalan Road is being financed with the government local fund, and then also the OIC, which is.
No, I don't think OIC is not funded by.
They also flush in their money in the construction of the 50-kilometer OIC road.
Yeah, that is the 50 kilometers.
Yes, so it's not 100% funded by their donors.
Yes, that's yes.
So I was listening to the same interview when the minister was asked about the expected completion of the Hakalan Road, and they said I think was it next year, something like that.
2024.
2024, something like that, and then one of the challenges that he mentioned was the difficulty of getting Gambians to work on the roads, that they have to go somewhere to collect Senegalese and other nationals.
But do you believe that? I know of a company which employed Gambians, and they ended up going, but they wouldn't get paid.
Maybe
that is one of the roads, or the 20 IC roads.
Maybe it's the way they search for workers, but I know there are people that are desperate for work. Yes.
You believe that's possible? If they said they don't find enough skilled labor among Gambians, perhaps for certain very skilled, specialized work, I may agree. But to say that Gambians don't want to work and you have to go to Senegal to get laborers, carpenters, and I find it very, very, very difficult to believe.
I mean, I think really Gambians are desperate for work. Maybe it's where they have, reached out to maybe communities. But
I'm telling you, I know of a company, one of these road projects, some of them, I mean, they employed Gambians who ended up leaving because they wouldn't pay them for months.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the OIC project as well, you find a lot of Gambians working in that project.
Mm-hmm.
So
to say that we have to go and look for Gambian workers to be part of the reasons why the job is, delayed is difficult. It's very, very difficult to comprehend. But then, let's move on. The minister spelled out how these monies, this 35 million or 33 billion will get it. He mentioned they're expecting grants and the revenue, the tax. The tax definitely is gonna be higher.
Yeah, I mean, like they keep saying, the Gambia is a tax-based economy, and I keep saying it should not be the case, because if you look at our revenue collection, you will get to realize that good chunk of our revenue is actually coming from donor projects. I mean, 11.1% of our GDP is, the donor fund projects and budget supports makes up 11.1% of our GDP. And then if you look at the tax revenue, it was just $13 billion out of the 31 billion revenue and grants that they will be receiving as a revenue for 2023. So you get to realize that non-tax revenue, something that I've always been pushing for, to locally mobilize government funds.
Yeah, that's it.
Also, like a local revenue to increase revenue of the country. It has not been going well because, look,
and they believe they should be able to recruit collect all these monies from the revenue.
No, definitely, because if you look at 2022, it was 2.1 billion, and then it increased by somewhere around 700 million to 2.9 billion in 2023. So this is the case. I think the government, they should learn lesson on donor funds, right? Donors do commit that they are going to give them these funds, but those are commitments. Sometimes they never get to receive it. Absolutely. If you look at the differences, let's say, for example, Ministry of Agriculture, good chunk of their capital development budget comes from donor funds, expected donor funds. But if you look at the overall expenditure of agriculture, sometimes they will have like 1.4 billion budget, but their actual expenditure is less than 500 million. Yeah. So that goes to say that we are putting sometimes our focus a lot on donor funds, and donors also do have priorities. When they have emergencies, they will also really reprioritize their commitments. So what I've been saying is always tax. Obviously people have to pay tax, but why not we look at innovative ways to increase domestic revenue? It's the same way with ports. With the ferry service, and then I think now that we have a toll system at the bridge, that also is increasing revenue. But the Ministry of Tourism, in fact, is a revenue generating entity, because the Ministry of Tourism can actually come up with initiatives that can actually increase domestic revenue. I said this somewhere else to parliamentarians, and I told them, look, if you go to the beach today or tomorrow on Sunday, right, you find hundreds of Gambians and non-Gambians, including tourists, maneuvering around the beach, having fun, which is very good. Now, you see Gambians in there, or non-Gambians, that will have horse riding. People ride on it and they pay $100, right? How many $100 how much are they going to make in that particular day? So my argument was, if private sector, if the government cannot enter into PPP, public-private partnership, right? Why not they come up with something innovative, something fun? When people go there, people don't have to pay to enter the beach. But when they go there are certain recreational services that they can actually get to use. But they pay. Where does the money go? It goes to the government coffers, right? Also, in terms of agricultural production, I mean, the World Bank has reported that cereal production has reduced by 7% in the Gambia.
What caused that?
And that's also because of the issues of fertilizer and then also the lack of market to sell their products. So now, if that is going down, which means most of our food consumption, the cereal consumption, will continue to be imported, right? So what can the government do? Why not the government, through the Minister of Agriculture, also should be innovative enough to start working on maximizing revenue? Why not they start establishing processing companies in rural Gambia or in the urban area, be groundnut, be rice, or sugar, you name it, flour, you name it. When farmers produce, now they know there is a market to sell their products. Where will they sell their product? They will sell it to the manufacturing company that is owned by, if it's a state-owned company. Now you process those goods. Where do you sell it? You have a market to sell it in the Gambia. And then what you do is you also have an embargo on the importation of certain goods. If you're locally processing rice and then you know it can meet the demand of the people, you sell it locally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then also that also make sure that there is food security in the country. And I mean, there are a lot. The Arts and Culture Center. Mr. Cham, you go to other countries, go to their museum. What you see is they're beautiful, but it's not something else that wow you.
Exactly.
Right? You see stones and precious stones, and then also there's I don't know, locally made handcrafted materials, and you pay to get there. You pay a lot of money to get there. So we have a rich history. We have a lot of things to say, but
we're not exploiting.
No, we are not.
How about the river?
Exactly. You know, promoting fishing within Gambians. I mean, if you ask the Chinese, they wouldn't tell you the actual figure they receive from this fishing, but they do make a lot of money. They do make a lot of money. And I mean, there are some Gambians that started fishing. Like one example is Rohiba, a female that has over 100 staffs, both Gambians and non-Gambians. Discouraged during the pandemic, she didn't get the support, and at the end of the day, she had to let the business go. So the support wasn't there because she was looking for a market to sell the harvested fish. There was no market. The competition that was there was not in her favor. So she wanted the government to step in to help. But I mean, so for me, that has been my concern. How do we generate revenue? Before you, make that crazy decision at the airport, making this airport level fee, saying it's a development.
Even yesterday, I was there to receive somebody, and we couldn't have change. I had to pay in advance. It's still going on.
I think it is a very I don't want to use any negative word, but
really
it doesn't make sense.
It damages our reputation.
Yeah, I saw someone as a Ghanaian making, complaining or attacking the airport, but I know he will attack the airport, but these makers are not the airport. That actually is being implanted by
they're not even the immigration.
So it's not a development. That money is not for development, as the president stated.
As it is suggested.
No, let's look at how does that discourage tourism.
Absolutely.
Right. Gambia is not only it's not the only tourist destination in West Africa.
In fact,
and there are countries.
There are more competitive.
Senegal,
Kenya, Cape Verde Island.
Just look at this region. Cape Verde, Senegal, and Gambia. They have more attractive tourism areas than that of ours, right? There was a time I was watching TV, and then what tourists will tell you that over the past years he's been coming to Gambia, but it's the same thing.
The same products.
So you are not investing much to attract more tourists, and then you're making it very difficult for tourists to come to the Gambia. So I think that is one of the craziest decisions that the government has ever made.
Well, in fact, even some parts of the government said they didn't agree with it.
Even the Minister of Tourism, I learned from the investigation that they did not agree with it.
They did not agree.
Justice also did not agree with it. So why will the president?
It is one thing the president should look at, because it's definitely damaging the reputation of the.
It is really
country and discouraging people.
Number one, also
even yesterday I was at the airport. There was Air France, there was Brussels Airlines, there was TUI from a lot of passengers, maybe 1,000 people. But then the issue that came up is that everybody was discouraged about this. secure report fees.
And then you look at that money, how much, according to reports, how much is going to the government? Out of the 20, only, I guess, only $5.
Only yes. Although it's been said that now all of it will go to the consolidated revenue
all
fund.
the 15,
that's
all the
Gambia
$20? Because I know secure report have a percentage.
A percentage, yes.
So
but in the past, the query had been, the auditors complained that it was not.
Yes, because it was now that $5 that they were receiving will go to the consolidated revenue fund, because there was a leakage in the collection of that.
Yes.
I mean the airport levy fee, and the president also made a statement. I mean the office of the president or the government made a statement that there should be a commission, ad hoc commission that should investigate the leakages.
That's where the issues come.
You actually created a platform for the leakages to be there in the first place. So what do you expect for people to do? So that really, number one, people pay their security fee on their ticket. And when I read that investigation by Mulligan that IACA rejected.
Yes,
that
for you to put it on
because
ticket,
it's going to be a double charge. Who does that?
No, I have to discourage that all
so
the time.
I think our government has not been innovative enough to increase domestic revenue. 2 billion right now. Look at the inflation, how it is skyrocketing. People's needs are also growing. The population is also fast growing. Also, poverty is, I think it was about 51% of the population. And then now there are going to be more demands. Goods and services are becoming more expensive. Now you have to meet those. If not, you will continue to run on a huge deficit that you cannot sustain. I mean, so I think for me, the next step, the budget is more of an administrative budget, if I can put it that way. Administrative budget in a sense that most of it goes into recurrent expenditure, personal enrollment.
So we are actually paying the money all to maintain our officials.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our domestic revenue, and I can give you that data soon. If you look at our domestic money, which is the government local fund, you will get to realize that good chunk of the money goes into recurrent expenditure. And just look at out of 22 billion which we have, our recurrent expenditure is 85%. Only 15% is going into development. So 85%, yes, 85% of 22 billion goes into administrative costs
to maintain our offices, our president,
and
up to our
salaries.
MPs. And
so 15%. It has been this trend over the past years. So, like I said earlier on, our expectation is always on donor funds to develop or to get into developmental projects, right? Now, the case that I was making to increase domestic revenue. Right? There has to, because look, the government. These are also estimates. The government, Minister of Finance, get to allocate budget to budget entity based on the availability of revenue.
Exactly.
Right? And sometimes one of the MPs said, Kebalang Vovanan said, we are focusing more on revenue. I mean, we're focusing more on expenditure. Why not we look at the revenue? Why not we audit revenues? Right? Because the leakages that are happening in the revenue generating agencies is affecting the country's economy and its development programs. So that is one thing. The other thing is, how do we maximize domestic revenue? Mr. Cham, there was an opportunity to expand our port, right? And then the government needs to know that the port is one of the factor that increases inflation of goods and prices in the country, because when people get their goods coming through the port, and then they are not docking on time to also get those materials to the market on time. No business, no business runs on loss. If you also look at the Senegambia bridge is a good idea, but if you look at all the goods that are coming from Dakar, right, like vegetables going to the southern part of Senegal, they go through the Gambia, and most trucks, the expectation was when we build the Senegambia bridge, trucks will be going through that. But trucks also don't want to burn more fuel. Right? They will come to Barra, spend the days as much as they can, and then get into the market and they inflate the price. So just walk to turntable and ask for a price of a garbage, right? A cabbage.
It's expensive.
Everything is inflated. So for me, the other case that we have been making is establishing this this Banjul bar. We'll say Banjul and North Bank. It might not be bar. Let's look for a shortest route and then get a bridge.
Banjul Bara Bridge. Well, I've been told the government is working very seriously on that. I got a tip that very soon there's going to be an investor or something who will come.
Well, in 2018,
and the government was very committed in that.
In 2018,
it may sound an impossible.
I mean, it's possible, but in 2018,
it is in the future. It should be the priority because
I think it should be the priority. Because for me, I think transportation opens up economy because the economy is more depending on moves. Right, people have to move. If transportation, I mean, look at what Senegal is doing. Right,
definitely.
Getting into PPP and then also getting into loans to build roads
roads, infrastructure,
everywhere.
landmark.
And look at how their countries also developing.
Absolutely.
Because that is also fast tracking the economy to grow. But for ours, it's slow. And then now, even. I was talking about the ports. Most Gambians will not even ship their containers to the Gambia. It has to go through Senegal. So there's something else wrong with us. I think we have to be serious if you wanted to develop this country. 15% of our money cannot develop this country. And then that 15% is not only into road construction. You have to realize that others go into
other things,
development of government offices and the likes. So and then some land. So I think really that should be the focus. Focusing on increasing domestic revenue. Let the government get into PPP. Let the government do what they can. Invest into processing factories, and promote commercial farming within our local farmers. Process those goods, sell it within. That's what many countries are doing, right? And most of these goods that we are consuming, that it has a effect in our life, and it affects everything. Because sometimes you consume food, you consume those foods are not tested sometimes, because some supermarkets, like it was reported before, sell expired food products. People consume those foods and they get sick. They go to our public health centers, there is no medicines, and they end up suffering these complicated diseases, and sometimes they lose their life. The same thing with these drugs that have been imported. So I think really if we wanted to promote healthy, nation and a wealthy nation,
we have to prioritize and spend more. Well, Marr, Nyang, before you leave us, because we are changing the topics to football, how are you following the World Cup?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of football. I'm a big fan of an individual.
Individuals.
Yes.
Okay. Well, who are the individuals you're looking at for?
I mean,
big names.
Well, I do support Gambia.
Gambia is not there, of course.
Obviously, I do support Gambia, but
one man who can tell us why Gambia was there is the communications director of Gambia Football Federation.
So I only support one person.
Individual players.
Individual player.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, since Gambia is not there, I can forgive you for doing that.
Yes.
but why are you not Pan-African?
Pan-African. I'm Pan-African.
In
terms of sports,
I don't mind telling you, most of the stars you had may not even been in the African teams.
I am Pan-African in politics and socio-economic development.
But when it comes to
sports has no boundaries.
Okay, I take it that you admire Messi, Ronaldo, and
Ronaldo,
the Brazilians. Which ones?
The Portuguese Ronaldo.
Oh, okay, the Portuguese Ronaldo. So you want Portugal to advance?
Well, yeah.
I almost had a heartbreak when they beat Ghana. I didn't want that.
Well, I was on the fence, but I wanted Portugal to win. Although, our neighbors will have. But I'm not a big fan of football. Let me just put it out.
Marr Nyang, the executive director of Gambia Participate, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on the budget. We hope to get you back when eventually the parliamentarians come out with now the actual budget. I'm sure a lot of reductions will be made on the 33 billion that the minister 35 that the minister wants them to approve. We'll be back with the brunch with a look at football.
Agada.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyenje.
Okay. What's Nsila ID soto.
Sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Ah,
mbale. Ko ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na lombali ya bere. Birim koyna fo katon.
Parisi kodo kino katon ni fo bolong blabe.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi topoto nin kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale le dadi ma nin domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat
apelenta
baraka ba ni lafta nyelen kendo le bina.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Welcome back to the brunch on Kerr Fatou Live. I'm Lamin Cham. Now, I've been joined by the Director of Communications at the Gambia Football Federation, Babucarr Camara, because over the last 2 days, the GFF, that is, came under heavy criticism when they came out with a statement expressing their position on a supposed training exercise supposedly to be conducted by a group that opposed them in the last elections. The GFF statement goes as this briefly, that it has come to their attention that a group calling itself Team Restore Confidence planned to organize trainings for GFF member clubs without prior notification or approval of the federation. So for the purpose of clarity, the membership of the GFF comprises of first and second division clubs, male and female, the 7 regional associations, the 5 allied associations, and by extension, all football academies which are registered with the regional football association. So those members does not belong to the, the aforementioned teams does not belong to the GFF and does not have any legal or technical competence to carry out any form of training for any member. So that means the Restore Confidence have no legal entity to organize training for GFF members. That's basically what has been communicated by the GFF. Of course, the statement drew sharp criticism from many quarters, not least, of course, the leader of that Restore Confidence, Babucarr, who himself contested against President Kababajo. He himself came out with a statement, summary. He said, I fervently believe that the Gambia Football Federation should focus on the promotion and development of football than engage in political bigotry. To be loyal to GFF, meaning in particular that the member must refrain from any actions contrary to the interests of GFF. This is where whoever sanctioned this missive, that is of course the statement I've just read, wants to hang on to, and I'm sorry to say that, but it is now clear that their interest, which was not what the Constitution talked about, is for people not to have capacity. How in the world is having a private workshop for club or general secretaries against the GFF's interests? Well, yes, because they do not want them to understand their roles so they can continue to be tossed around. Babucarr, basically, why do you think the GFA is not happy that an entity, maybe it may not even be Restore Confidence or some other person, should organize training program for its members?
Thank you, Cham. Good to be on this program for the very first time.
When you were in South Korea, you definitely, did very, very well on your show. Now you are eating.
And you were jealous.
And I was jealous.
Now you're happy.
I'm going down.
Oh my goodness.
You are going up again.
I'm already
yes.
aren't I?
Let's come to the point. Why do you even have to come with this missive? What did you hear? What has gone wrong? What has the Restored Confidence team? What did they do wrong?
Well, Cham, we first of all have to understand the GFF as an organization before we jump into certain conclusions. Of course, the kind of energy, positive, negative, that this press release attracted was something that was not unexpected. We expected something like this because some people do not understand the GFF as an organization and our roles and functions. That is why I know some people make statements that may not be informed. And that's the main reason why I am here also. First of all, we have to understand that the Gambia Football Federation is a stakeholder-based association. It belongs to its members. And who are these members? That's what you just stated in the press release. And they are the supreme and the legislative body of the Gambia Football Federation. Now, the GFF is the body mandated to administer football in the country.
Yeah.
And I think anywhere you heard of rival football federations in one country, then there is a problem.
You call the Restore team a rival football?
You don't understand. I said anywhere you hear rival football federations in a country, then that means there's a problem.
Yeah.
And in our case, we do not have a problem.
Okay.
You understand? So one have to first understand that the stakeholders of the Gambia Football Federation went to Congress in August 2022 and elected a new football federation leadership. And until Allah decides otherwise, they will be here until 2026. So the GFF, as a body, have members where they have rights, but equally members also have obligations. For us, this is not personal against anyone, but I think also our members also have an obligation. What is the Gambia Football Federation's interest in this training that the team that is called Team Restore Confidence is called? We call it a team that calls it a Team Restore Confidence because as far as the GFF and its status are concerned, there is nobody that is called Team Restore Confidence.
Okay.
You understand?
All right.
So we came across this advert on social media, and as a body responsible for football in this country, I think protocol would advise you that if you want to engage our members, I think you should have that courtesy to inform us first, because these members have rights, but equally they have an obligation to the organization. They don't have an obligation to Kaba, neither do they have an obligation to Babucarr or even Lamin, but they have an obligation to the Gambia Football Federation as an organization. Now, I'll give you an example. You must have seen in fact, your team was there when UEFA organized a capacity building training for the leadership of the Gambia Football Federation. Yeah. This was UEFA, and the Gambia Football Federation is not a member of UEFA. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. Gambia Football Federation is answerable to CAF at the continental level and FIFA at a global level. Exactly. Now, even when UEFA wanted to conduct this training for the Gambia Football Federation, because they are not a member of CAF,
you have to inform CAF.
You have to inform CAF and FIFA. And at one point, FIFA wanted to know what interest does UEFA have in training Gambia Football Federation. So we had to go and defend and tell them this and this is what is the interest and those trainers for them to approve it. So you just cannot just come, UEFA cannot just get up and come and train Gambia Football Federation staff when the Gambia Football Federation is answerable to FIFA. So this is what we are saying. If any body or individual wants to train our members, you have to channel this through the Gambia Football Federation. So now, who are the trainers? Yeah. What certificate? What certificate do they have?
What competence?
What competence do they have to train these people? Every training has consequences, positive or negative. You understand? So you have to know who are dealing with your members. It's just like today. I'm a trained journalist, but if I just get up today and say I'm going to train the staff, the reporters of Kerr Fatou, without coming through you or Fatou, how are you going to feel?
Oh, okay. So the crime, whatever if you want to call it, the Team Restore Conference was to initiate a training without consulting the legal authority governing football in the country.
But that's what I'm saying.
Number one crime.
That's number one. And we have to understand also that Team Restore Conference is not a member of the Gambia Football Federation.
Yeah. But is it a crime for any other entity, forget about Team Restore Conference, to initiate a training program? That may not be a crime in your view, but not to inform the GFF is not acceptable.
Exactly. It's not acceptable.
So that's your position.
That is our position. Our position is that Lamin Cham can come up and decide to enhance the capacity of our members. Yes. But Lamin Cham, in order for Lamin Cham to be able to do this, he has to channel that through the Gambia Federation. We have the legal mandate and the technical competence to train our members, unless otherwise we delegate that responsibility to a body that is competent enough to do it. And we do not think that Team Restore Confidence have that competence to train our members, unless they convince us.
So how did you approach it? One would have suggested when you see the adverts and you know the training dates and the programs, you have no information from them, you would have written to them and bring their attention to that.
But I think, Cham, I think that should have started with them. You understand?
Yeah, they didn't do that, obviously.
Like I said.
They didn't do that.
Like I said, listen, Cham, politics is over.
Yes.
Unless Allah decides otherwise, but Kaba and his team are here until. No, listen to me.
You want to tell me that this is politically motivated?
Well, it's subject to interpretation. You understand? It depends on who is talking.
You should the GFF suspect that this opposition group are still bent on making political capital for themselves by trying to do the work what the federation should have done in the first place.
But I mean, what else do they achieve in this?
So
are they going to achieve? Like when you say, I have given a campaign promise. You campaign on the promise that if I win, this is what I'm going to do.
Yes.
Now you've not won.
Yes.
You understand?
But you cannot still do what you plan to.
We cannot stop anybody from enhancing people's capacity.
As long as they
I have been trained, Lamin Cham.
Yeah.
I have been trained to become a sports administrator.
Yeah.
But then I went through an organization that has the competence and that is accredited across the world to be able to train people to become sports administrator. But that, because I am a staff of the Gambia Football Federation, the moment I got this this admission to further my studies, I had to inform the GFF. They had to give me clearance first to go. Otherwise, if I go on my own accord, then I'm going to be out of job, wouldn't I?
So if tomorrow the team Restore Confidence initiates a different approach, write a letter to the GFF stating their plan to organize this for its members, would it be accepted?
We have no problem with whosoever that is interested in. Of course. I mean, we have to understand that, like me, I mean, as a person, I have no personal problem with the leader of the team Restore Confidence. Neither does anyone at the GFF leadership. I think what we differ in terms of opinion as to how we are going to develop football. You understand? So whosoever that has the technical competence to train our members, to engage our members on anything, if we engage us constructively with respect, I don't think we should have any problem with that.
Even if it's from Team Restore Confidence.
But politics is over. Team Restore Confidence doesn't exist as far as we know, as a federation. As a GFF, Lamin, you know the status of the GFF.
Okay.
And then
what do you make of
Article 14?
Yeah,
Article 14
that's important, yeah.
of the GFF states very clearly that, and this has to do with the obligations of the members, that they have to comply with the rules and regulations of FIFA, CAF, and GFF. It didn't even state UEFA or AFC or any other thing. You understand? This is Article 14.A. Okay. So, yes.
So your position, what about the suggestions they are doing that this capacity building and other training should have been done by the GFF, and because you wouldn't do this, you don't want other people to do them? I mean,
well, I think that's just
your position is that, well, it may be
no, Cham, to state that, I mean, we will not do it. Unless the author of that statement is more informed than me. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, this is a training that should have even happened in October, even before, immediately after the elections. We were going to train not only our primary members.
Targeting secretary generals of clubs who doesn't even know how to keep records, according to Babucarr Camara. So these are basic things that people running your clubs and other branches, lack. So they want to step in to do that.
Well, listen, I have absolute and maximum respect for the stakeholders, our club secretary generals and presidents. I think they have done a tremendous job. I mean, in able to bring their clubs to where they are today. So if they do not have all that has been claimed, I don't think they will be able to do that, because this is to say that our club general secretaries, I think that statement is very, very unfair to our stakeholders to call them incompetent, because this is what it's all about. If you say I don't even know how to keep records and I'm running a club, then I'm not competent to run a club. Cham. That's the interpretation.
So supposing any of your members positively responded to this and want to participate, what law are they contravening? Article 14?
Article 14A and B.
And what would be the sanction?
Because well, I am in no position to determine that. That sanction, the stakeholders, they have elected an executive body that represents them, and they, with all due respect, if any club goes ahead and participate in any training that is not sanctioned by the GFF, in any activity for that matter that has not been sanctioned by the GFF, will definitely receive punitive actions from the leadership of the GFF. Without any exception.
I respect your position that everything should have been channeled through the GFF, but I ask this question. Supposing restore confidence now turn and take a different approach and now write to you, the GFF Federation, stating these kind of programs, would you still have objection to that?
I answered that before. I said, I mean, be it Team Restore Confidence, be it any other group or individual that have an interest in development football in the Gambia, we are ready and our doors are open to partner with anyone to do that. We have no problem with that.
Well, they use, okay, what I will agree perhaps political capital. They criticized the GFF. They said, in fact, what you should be concentrating on is to paying your club's prize monies that you have not done. That should be, in fact, your priority, and not necessarily to stop people who want to help doing work that you have not done.
Well, thank you. I mean, I know that we have not paid our clubs out their prize monies. That's no news, but that's our priority. And I think for the past 8 years, Gambian football has registered tremendous achievements, especially in terms of our clubs. When you look at how our youth teams are performing, and even the national team, because 90% to 95% of the core of our national team are all players that pass through the domestic league in the past, 8 to 5 years. Yeah. So that goes to show the strength of our national team. You understand?
Basically, if I will help you, the bulk of the national team, they come from almost entirely from abroad.
Exactly.
They started from Gambia.
Exactly. And then when you look at the GFF, we run our domestic league on average $25 million without sponsorship all this while, and no single club since 2014 has been asked to pay any membership fee since 2014 to date. You understand? And we do this, but at the same time we give these clubs preparatory money for a start, preparatory money for all our first and second division clubs, male and female. You understand? And also our regional leagues that are organizing the regional third division leagues and the academies. We give them this, and whenever a team is also playing in Basori and Jarasoma, we give them transport money that is separate from the preparatory monies that we give them. We did this. We are doing this all without any sponsorship. You understand? Yeah. So when you look at the activities of the Gambia Football Federation, Cham, you will agree with me that our mandate is to develop and promote football. You understand? But because we all know the situation, which is that the Gambia government takes care of the senior national team, but all the other youth category national teams are the 100% responsibility of the Gambia Football Federation. And the last 3 years, the under 20 team, the under 23 and the Cham team, all three teams participated in continental competitions, and all were sponsored 100 by the Gambia Football Federation in the last 3 years. I mean, and on average, each team's participation in a double-legged match costs you $13 million on average.
The question may arise, why do you need to enter all those competitions when you know your resources are limited? You enter them because it's also a way of attracting funding on some sort. You have to compete at this level in order to attract funding from FIFA.
But Cham, we have to understand that, I mean, football goes beyond leisure. Now look at the past crop of under 20 players that qualified for the World Cup that was cancelled as a result of the COVID-19. Yes. Many of them today, the likes of Lamalana Jallo, I mean, and many other, Wali Fofanas, they've signed contracts outside of Europe.
And they had exposure from this tournament. So it's making it only more important.
And now, these people are going to contribute in the socio-economic development of the Gambia. They have an opportunity to lift their families out of poverty.
So if there wasn't Gambia in the under 20, it wouldn't happen.
Of course it wouldn't happen. It would be very difficult. I wouldn't say it wouldn't happen, but it would be very, very difficult. Yeah. When our various national teams were not participating in continental competitions, hardly you hear any
out of Gambia.
Exactly, or hardly hear any player signing contracts outside of Gambia.
So why would you then not attract major sponsorship if you have to participate in all these age categories and you don't have sponsorship of your own? Who's to blame? Is it that there are no private or football-friendly sponsors or businesses or entities? Why have you been able to attract sponsorship? This is important because you were in marketing as well too. Why do you think it's a problem for football to attract, domestic football to attract sponsorship in the Gambia?
I think, Cham, this has to do with the general mindset, the general mindset of Gambians. Because even at national level, now look at Senegal as a classical example. I mean, the World Cup, how much did they budget for? $23 million. $23 million.
Yeah.
How much did
they even achieve? How much? Do you know how much?
No, but
that have been achieved?
But that has been achieved 100%.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So how much? I mean, when we qualified to the AFCON, how much?
90 million we wanted to.
We wanted $119 million. $119 million is on in the current dollar exchange rate. That's just a little over $2 million. Yeah. Now look at the gap. You understand? So
is that a limitation of our resources as a country?
That is one factor. That is one factor. But also another factor is that I think it is high time we sit and see sports beyond its current context of just leisure. Sports has the potential of improving our health. You understand? If you train well, then you are, I mean, it's scientifically proven that you can live a healthy lifestyle. When you are healthy, you do not go often to the hospital. Yeah. When you do not go often to the hospital, Cham, when you do not go often to the hospital, then that saves the government resources that is going to spend on healthcare. And that money can also be diverted into other aspects of national development. You understand? When players have contracts, look at the likes of, Ronaldo, how much they receive. You understand? Look at Omar Colley is a classical example. Omar came from a very, very humble background, but he signed a contract. Now he's lifted himself and his family out of poverty. Out of poverty. Okay. And when in the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, this was someone who donated the government in its fight against COVID-19 $500 million. If he had not become a professional footballer, that is the likelihood of him being able to do that. It's difficult.
The attitude of people should be.
We have to, and I think the private sector also needs to do a lot. I have seen recently that of course, AfriCell, is partnering with the Carnegie municipality to build a
structures in all the pavilions.
Exactly, starting in Serekunda West, and I think this is the approach. This is where it starts. Private organizations should partner with the central and the local governments also to develop sports infrastructure. Let's invest in football.
People like Sadi Kamara in the opposition said part of the problem you couldn't attract sponsorship is lack of trust. That's why he called himself Team Restore Confidence. Although his own critics said
well, but with all due respect to my elder brother, he was at the GFF. I mean, he was part of the team Kaba since 2014. So I think that would be a collective failure. If it is, then that should be a collective failure. With all due respect and fairness to my senior brother. So I think.
But you have a sponsorship in Baluo.
In fact, that's what I'm coming to say. I mean,
for the first division at least.
For the first division, and this is something. In fact, they approach us. Through the CEO of Kerr, Fatou Toure, and this is where nationalism is. Before we sit outside, keep criticizing. Of course, everybody. You cannot say that when you are in public office you cannot be criticized. No. But constructive criticism is good. But when you criticize, also come up with solutions, come up with ideas that can be able to solve.
Sort of permanent hostility.
Exactly. So we got approached by Fatou Toure and her partners, and for the first time we are going to have first division sponsorship, and whatever is going to be generated from that sponsorship is going to be spread across to the clubs. So this is what is needed, and I think even you or any other person who has that contacts to be able to bring sponsorship on the table. We have many products. The national teams, the leagues are there. This is a win-win situation for all the parties involved, because football will give you that exposure that you may not have.
Bringing the curtain down, let's talk about recently you published the calendar. We have I think the most imminent one is the Super Navetan coming on December the 1st. I read the composition of the new Super Navetan committee. Do you think, from what I hear of the Navetans, you think December 1st target for the beginning of the Super Navetan is feasible?
I think it is, because most of the Navetan zones are now winding up their championship, like Serekunda is. They are now left with only the finals.
But the December 1st is just 6 days away. I haven't seen even your fixture or draw. It has not been done. Have you fixed a date for the draw?
Well, the Super Navetan committee is been inaugurated, and it's
late. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't want to go into details in it.
It's a bit late.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the thing is, that I'm not privy to all too much information with regard to the Super Navetan. I'm not a member of the committee for the start. And secondly, I mean, you know that I was out of town.
Yes.
You know, I am not privy to the information with regards to the Super Navetan. If I had known, I wish I could have asked for that before coming to this program to be able to give you that update. But I promise you something is that immediately I leave these studios, I'm going to find out what is the latest about the Super Navetan, and I assure that we are going to publish whatever is happening with regard to the Super Navetan. But I think if there is going to be any delay, I think they should have been able to come out now to say.
I mean, it's just less than a week to go, and we haven't even had the draw. Well, so that's why I'm saying isn't the
but the teams are preparing, and you can even hold the draw. Even on Monday you can hold the draw, can't you?
And 2 days later they play.
But of course,
that's not an ideal.
Well, it's not an ideal thing, but then
what comes next? The league.
The league comes in.
And it will start in phases.
In January,
It will start in phases.
Yeah, of course. Second division first, but it starts with the Super Cup first. And you know that for the first time this year also, I mean, there'll be live broadcast of our matches on.
Yes,
with 11 sports.
Around that.
Well, I think it has died down now. Nobody's no longer talking about that.
Okay.
But also, Cham, one thing I would want to say is that as an organization, our doors are very open. I mean, we have nothing to hide. We engage and encourage the general public to come out, ask questions where necessary, and we will try our best to give them those relevant information. But in the meantime, also you can always visit our website www.gambiafm.gov.
I must commend you people for that.
Exactly. If you go to our website today, you will have access to our activity reports. For the past 5 years, it's been there. Our financial statement is there. Our constitution is there. It serves as a library. Any information that you need about the Gambia Football Federation is all there on the Federation's website.
Facebook too is active, because some of the issues people journalists want to take the trouble to ask, sometimes they are answered on your Facebook. That's commendable.
Well, we try our best. You cannot satisfy people all the time, but you have to try your best.
You must now be familiar with criticisms.
No, come on, Lamin. One thing I have learned from a very, very, very early stage is to have a thick skin.
Yes.
You understand? So such kind of criticism, I just take it to the scene and then I move on.
Sometimes they blame the GFF for things that are really should be blamed on government.
I mean, sometimes they even blame governments for things that are not supposed to be blamed on either them or the GFF.
Yes,
so that goes to show people's understanding. And for me,
false by government.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, I think if anybody wants any information about the Gambia Football Federation, our doors will be open. And I assure you that, in fact, this kind of engagements would not be regular. I mean, we are planning on even starting a radio show where we will open the lines for fans to call and ask anything they want to ask. You understand? And we will try to answer them, and we'll try to educate them more about the Gambia Football Federation, our roles and our responsibilities, our functions as well.
Good. Let's talk about the World Cup now. Finally, until yesterday, there wasn't much to write home about African teams. In fact, today there's a further disappointment. Australia beating Tunisia. Let us try to look at the prospects for African teams. Which among them? Cameroon, Senegal, Morocco, Tunisia, Ghana. Which among these teams do you think will cross the Africa's threshold achievement has been quarterfinal? Do you think this year would be? It doesn't look to me like any of these African teams will reach the semi-final.
Well, to me, the semi-final may be a tall order for any African team. But I think if there is one team that has the potential of going into the latter stages of the competition, that is Senegal for me. Because forget about the disappointment of the 2-0 defeat against the Netherlands. Yes. I think Senegal played very, very well. I think it took a couple of individual errors, that the Dutch use to punish them. But they had a very, very good game against the Dutch, and also even yesterday, we've seen Senegal for the very first time that they have 3 different goal scorers in one World Cup match, and they've also equaled their highest ever goal tally in a World Cup, which is 3. The first one came in 2002 against Uruguay, which was a 3-3 draw. And even the last World Cup, I think, Senegal were knocked out because of, in the end, it went down to disciplinary record because they received more yellow cards than Japan.
But didn't they found themselves in a tight corner?
No, they are in fact, I was very excited that Senegal won yesterday, and I think many people are disappointed, understandably so. Even me, I'm disappointed that Sadio Mane missed the World Cup, but I think the right thing to do was what happened. When a player is not fit, just don't take him the pass into the World Cup, and let's give the others the opportunity to show what they can. You understand? I was very excited that Senegal, they won. They deservedly so, for that matter. But then, equally, I got disappointed between the draw between the Netherlands and Ecuador. And when you look at the performance of the Dutch yesterday, for me, I just want to think that, they just did it. Just like that. No, for me personally, I think the Dutch, they did not give, they did not show the same hunger and the desire to win like they did against Senegal, because for a draw against the Ecuador,
which means they are.
I think they are home and dry already. They are going to qualify.
Which means they are quite calculated.
And now this puts Senegal in a very, very funny situation, because Senegal now, they have to win. They have to win.
There are no two ways.
There are no two ways out of there.
So look at Ecuador. Do you think that's feasible for
I
them?
think Senegal has the potential to beat Ecuador. You understand? Ecuador, I think, even against Qatar, they surprised Qatar.
How about Cameroon?
They had a good game against Switzerland, but you see, in football, if you do not take your chances, then your opponent gets one, he's going to punish you. And
How about the sentiments in that match? The goal scorer actually is Cameroonian by ancestry.
Mbolo.
Yeah, by heritage. Mbolo. I saw images of his home in Cameroon being on the siege from supporters of Cameroonian supporters.
Well, you see, this is always a controversial topic for us Africans. You understand? We think that
Somebody said one day a foreign army will invade Cameroon with a Cameroonian as a commander.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, but you see, like Marr said, football has no boundaries. You understand? Of course, myself, even if I were a Cameroonian, I would have been disappointed, because I would love the best players to come and play for us. You understand? But we have to also understand that these are players who have gone into countries, they've settled there. Those countries have also given them a lot. In fact, they've given them everything. So also, and they became citizens, rightly so. So once you become a citizen, then you have equal rights, like somebody else who is also a citizen. I see the controversy with George Weah's son as well. But we have to understand one thing. Timothy, first for a start, was born in the United States of America. That makes him an American citizen. And he started playing for the US youth ranks even before his father became president.
But isn't it a shame that George Weah, who not only is president, but he's been Africa's best known footballer, in fact, the one who first achieved the only one, in fact, the Ballon d'Or, and he become president, yet, let football to die, and let his son not.
But Lamin, I think with Timothy, I understand, but with Timothy, I think his only connection with Liberia is through his father. Through his father. His mom is not Liberian, and he was not even born there.
His father being footballer and president. There should be something better in terms of quality football in Liberia now that is happening.
Come on, Cham. I tell you what, if your son has, a similar opportunity, you'll be the first to advise him.
But I should have got something with all the influence he had to do something in Liberia.
It's true, but would he be able to play a World Cup?
How about Ghana?
Would he be able to play a World Cup?
No, it wouldn't be. Well, it can get there. It's not even the African Cup of Nations. Okay, what about Ghana?
Well, Ghana, unfortunately, I did not watch their match, but I understand that in fact throughout the first round, they gave the best I mean, they were the best ambassadors for Africa. They gave everything they could in that game, but in the end, they had to lose against.
Finally, which nations do you think will probably are top favorites for the Cup? Brazil had shown, well, that of course, Brazil always want every World Cup to themselves, but this particular team is on everybody's lips to be.
I watched a documentary talking about that was centered around France 98 and Korea Japan 2002.
Yeah.
Now I watched Roberto Carlos making a remark that strike me. He said, in Brazil, playing a World Cup final and losing and being knocked out of the groups in the group stages is the same.
So it's just
you understand?
Yeah.
So with Brazil, that is just that is to emphasize the point that you've made. Brazil will always be among the favorites.
Absolutely.
And now when you look at this Brazilian team, of course Neymar may be the star player of the team, but this team, the potential of that team goes beyond Neymar alone.
Absolutely.
You understand? They have quite some fantastic talents. The Antonis, the Vinicius Juniors. You understand? So they will always be the favorite, and France for me also, I think is always going to be one of the favorites as well.
They are in action today.
Exactly, against Denmark. That's going to be a cracker. Argentina shocked me. I watched that match in the flight, on my way from Turkey. And I was very surprised that Saudi Arabia was able to pull that. But when you also looked at the Argentinian squad, I don't think Argentina has what it takes to go all the way, because when you look at even the age, listen, for a start, their star player Messi is no longer the player that he used to be.
He's not young anymore.
Angel Di Maria, Nicolas Otamendi, Tagliafico.
They've all come of age.
They've all come of age. They are no longer that players that they used to be. You understand? With all due respect to them, I don't think for me they are going to be among my favorites to win the World Cup.
Disappointed?
Germany, yes, very disappointed. Obviously, I did not see that one coming.
Yeah.
But the team that surprised me most, I think so far, is Spain.
Oh, okay.
Spain. I mean, I've always been a Spanish supporter, but I did not have much hope in them this year, based on the team selection, because Luis Enrique took, for me, in my opinion, I think, I describe his team selection to be biased. You understand? But look at what they did against Costa Rica. But also, I mean, I think it's still too early to judge them. I think for me,
because it's been one match for most
exactly, and also, I mean, Costa Rica is not a Brazil or a Germany.
Oh yeah, but
so what they come up with against Germany, I think for me will go a long way in shaping my opinion as to whether they are going to be among the favorites for this World Cup.
All right, just in case you're wondering, I think two matches one had already ended. They beat Australia, beat Tunisia.
Tunisia 1-0.
Quite surprising.
And this is the same Tunisian team that we defeated 1-0 in the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, so not much is expected of Tunisia now. Denmark and France will meet on, and Argentina in the last match will take on Mexico.
Yes.
That will be an all South American affair. That will be interesting.
I mean, Mexico against Argentina is the match to look for me, because these are two teams that like to attack.
Absolutely.
These are teams that like to get possession.
There is a lot of
you understand?
rivalry between them.
Oh yes, there is a lot of rivalry between those two teams.
Maradona won the cup there
in Mexico in 1986. You understand?
Right.
So it's the game to look forward to for me. I know that Denmark, France is going to be another cracker. But that derby between the South and the North Americans is the game to look forward to for me.
Thank you. Babucarr Camara, journalist and Director of Communications for the Gambia Football Federation. Thank you very much for being on The Brunch. The Brunch will be back with more look at the budgets 2023 next week, and perhaps even more football items will feature then. Until then, goodbye for now.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.